Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Six Wrestling's Glorious or Rotten Rewind. I am your host, the glorious Robbie Rotten, aka everyone's favorite Deep Six champion, aka the glorious one, aka Mr. Money in the Bank. And this episode is going to focus on WrestleMania III, which took place on March 29th, 1987 at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. And holy crap, this place is packed. I know the build attendance is over 93,000. I don't think it was really that many people, but it was not that wasn't that far from it. It was a lot of people. Huge difference from the first two WrestleManias. I don't even think they had anywhere near that for the first two combined. So that's pretty impressive. Pretty big step up for the WWF here. And yeah, they had Aretha Franklin singing the America the Beautiful, and another big star didn't do it as well as Ray Charles, but it was still pretty good. The first match was the magnificent Don Morocco and Cowboy Bob Orton, who's actually finally in a match instead of just being in someone's corner for once, with Mr. Fuji versus Rick Martel and Tom Zank. And this was a solid opening match. The baby faces get the win when Martel pins Don Morocco, who's not actually the legal man. So I guess the ref wasn't paying attention, or I don't know if this was part of a further angle. I could see this happening in like today's WWF or WWE now, obviously, but I don't know if they did storylines like that back then. So maybe this was just a screw up, but whatever. Baby faces win. Good feel good start to WrestleMania. Solid match. Nothing special, but pretty solid. Rick Martel's first appearance here, and I know he was always pretty good, and he looked good in this match, so good stuff. Second up, we had Billy Jack Haynes, versus Hercules Hernandez, and he had Bobby the Brain Heenan in his corner, and this match was like to determine who's the master of the full Nelson. Masters. But anyway, there was like a weird promo before the match with Hercules where he acted like he was actually like the Hercules of like legend. He was talking about all the stuff he did in the past. This is the kind of stuff that wouldn't work today. I'm kind of glad WWF moved away from this stuff when they went to the Attitude Era, kind of. And then now in WWE, you don't see stuff like this at all. So that's good. There was like a Marlboro cigarette ad you could see in the stadium, and that was kind of odd. You wouldn't see something like that at all today because, everybody knows cigarettes are bad. This match was pretty forgettable. It was over who's the master of the full Nelson. So it wasn't awful, but it had a pretty stupid finish with a double count out, because what's his name, Billy Jack Haynes, couldn't even remember the guy's name. It doesn't even make an impression on me at all. Locked in the full Nelson on the outside. Why didn't he just do that on the inside and win? He locks it on the outside and they get counted out, and then the heels beat him down with Hercules' chain and bust him open. So not terrible, but not good. It's alright. And next up, we had King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook versus Hillbilly Jim, Little Beaver, and Kid Haiti. This was an odd match. This was the two WWF stars, and their tag team partners were dwarves. little people. I don't know what the correct terminology is. And they were throwing around the word midgets a lot. It was kind of uncomfortable. I don't know. I guess that was more acceptable back then. A little cringy though. Um, oh, and this was the WrestleMania with the carts, where they came out on the carts. It was great. I liked that. It's stupid, but it was funny, and it made sense because the ramp was like super super long because it was like a gigantic football stadium, and it makes sense to have the carts. But yeah, this was kind of offensive. The baby faces ended up winning when King Kong Bundy elbow dropped Little Beaver, and I guess they weren't supposed to interact with each other really. It was supposed to be like the big guys against each other, and then like the little people against each other. And I mean, I guess this was supposed to be like a fun little comedy match, but it just doesn't age well, and it didn't really work well for me. I think it was just in poor taste. So I'm gonna give this a rotten.
Ew, rotten.
Not for me. Next up, we had King Harley Race with Bobby Heenan and the Fabulous Moolah versus the Junkyard Dog, where the loser has to bow and kneel before the winner. And I guess the winner is the King of Wrestling officially. I guess maybe he won a King of the Ring or something. I don't really know what the storyline was. They did actually have a pretty good video package beforehand to show the rivalry, but they didn't explain the King thing 100%. Harley Race was like a really, really good salesman in the ring. He sold like a rag doll for like everything Junkyard did. It was awesome. Unfortunately, though, this was really short, and it ended kind of suddenly. Like Harley just hit like a belly to belly suplex, and like it looked like it was. I couldn't tell if like the ref screwed up or something, like, or if maybe Junkyard was supposed to kick out, or if that's just the finish. I don't know. It just seemed kind of sudden to me. And then instead of kneeling, Junkyard Dog bowed, and then he attacked Harley Race with a chair, and then he stole the robe and he left. So I mean, he lost, but at least the babyface got over a little bit on this one. Not great, but it was okay. It was fine for what it was. Next, we had the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake. He's not the barber yet. I keep saying it, but he's not. Brutus Beefcake from San Francisco, not parts unknown. And Greg the Hammer Valentine. Nice, we got some continuity from the last WrestleMania. With Bobby Heenan and was it Bobby Heenan? No, it wasn't Bobby Heenan. I think it was Jimmy Hart. No, Johnny Valiant. That's who it was. So many managers. What is up with that? The WWF loved managers in the 80s, and there's so many of them. But like they have like 5 or 6 of them, but they send them out for like all these different. It's weird. I don't know. It's so different than today. Johnny Valiant and Dino Bravo was out there with them for some reason. So this was all right. The Rougeaus were pretty smooth together. The heels get the win when Dino Bravo hits Raymond with a diving splash while the ref's distracted, and then Valentine picks up the pin. And then the heels leave without Beefcake, which is kind of weird. Is that setting up a face turn or something? I don't know what's going on here. I guess we'll find out. Next up, we had the adorable Adrian Adonis with Jimmy Hart versus Rowdy Roddy Piper, who is a baby face in this match. The crowd was huge for him. They popped so huge, and for great reason. Roddy Piper was fantastic. So charismatic. And the commentators claim that this was his final match. This is his retirement match, whether he wins or loses. And also, the loser of the match gets their head shaved. That was a stipulation here. Which, obviously, Piper did not end up staying retired. So, this wasn't really his final match. He wrestled plenty more. And this was really chaotic. It was pretty fun, actually. I wasn't really expecting much because Adonis had a pretty bad match at WrestleMania 2. But this was pretty fun. I think just everything that Piper's involved in is pure chaos. He's not a technician, but he knows what he's doing in there. He knows how to really get the crowd into it. And they start by like beating each other up with a belt, and then Piper kind of starts to get beat up, and Adonis is winning. And then out of nowhere, here he comes. Here comes Brutus Beefcake. I guess all of a sudden in that 15 minutes that he got turned on by the other guys, he turned babyface and he starts pumping up Roddy. He's like, all right, come on, bro. He rubs his shoulders and apparently that makes him powerful again. And then Piper wins with a sleeper hold. And here we go. It's the birth of the barber. Brutus the Barber Beefcake here cuts Adrian Adonis' hair. So this is the birth of the barber. Okay, I wasn't that far off saying the barber all these times. So here it was. This was really fun. Nothing super special, but definitely fun, and it was pretty good. Definitely overall pretty good. Next up, we had the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis with Jimmy Hart versus the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana. The Bulldogs had their bulldog Matilda, which attacked Jimmy Hart and chased him out of the ring. I thought that was pretty funny. And apparently Danny Davis is like a referee who screwed over all the baby faces out of their titles at some point. So a crooked referee. And this was his wrestling debut. This match looked really good on paper. Like I thought this was going to be like a show stealer. And it was fine, but it wasn't as good as you would have thought for, having Bret Hart and Tito Santana and the Bulldogs and all that. But it was still pretty fine. The crowd really wanted to see Danny Davis get his comeuppance. And, he got beat up for a bit, but he actually ended up getting the pin on Davey Boy when he hit Davey Boy with Jimmy Hart's megaphone while the ref was distracted and covered him for 3. And the crowd was really disappointed. But, this was actually a pretty solid match. Some good heel work in there. Not as good as I would have hoped, but still pretty good. Very solid. Next up, we had the Natural Butch Reed with the Master of Style, Slick, versus Coco Beware. And as everybody knows, Coco Beware comes out with the parrot, so he's got the parrot at ringside. And there's a point in the match where Monsoon was talking about how Frankie the parrot knows that, he knows that Coco Beware's in trouble. What are you talking about, Gorilla? Come on, you're better than that. It's a bird. But anyway, Butch Reed gets the win when he reverses a crossbody into the 3 count. And then after the match, he starts beating up Coco. And then, for some reason, here comes Tito Santana. Tito Santana's thing seemed to be just running down and saving other baby faces at WrestleManias, I guess, for some reason. But here he is, and everybody loves it. Everybody loves Tito. And yeah, this was fine for what it was. Nothing special. Kind of short, but it was alright. Next up, we had the Intercontinental Championship match between champion Macho Man Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth and his challenger Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who had George the Animal Steel in his corner. More continuity from WrestleMania 2. And Savage was champ at WrestleMania 2 and had apparently won the title 2 or 3 months before that, and it's well over a year going into WrestleMania 3 as Intercontinental Championship, holding the Intercontinental Championship. And that is very impressive. You don't see that so much anymore, unless you're Brock Lesnar. And there was a lot of really good psychology going on here. Let me actually rewind a little bit. They had a really good video package showing the rivalry, because apparently Macho Man crushed Ricky's larynx with the ring bell in storyline, and then they showed Ricky training up to get his revenge, and this was really cool. They told a good story. Great psychology and storytelling in this match, and really good pace. Ricky is normally just like a happy-go-lucky babyface, but he shows a bit of an edge here because he wants to get revenge for what happened to him. And this was special. If you haven't seen this match, watch it. Go back and watch it. This is unlike anything that ever seen at the time. Definitely ahead of its time. And this would stand up as a great match today. It really would. Something special, Ricky gets the win with a small package after Macho tries to get the ring bell and jump off the top rope and hit Ricky with it. And then George Steele interferes and pushes him off the top rope. There was actually a ref bump earlier on, so the ref was knocked out. So the ref was good, didn't see it, And, Randy got knocked off the top rope, and then Ricky took advantage and hit him with a small package and pinned him with a 3, and the crowd absolutely exploded for Ricky's big feel-good win, And this was a hell of a match. Definitely go back and watch it. This was the best match in WrestleMania history up to this point. I mean, it's not a lot of WrestleMania matches up to this point, but by far the best match. Let's see how long that moniker holds up. Next up, we had Jake the Snake Roberts with Alice Cooper in his corner versus the Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart. There was nothing special to this. It was just kind of like a come-down match from the really hot, really incredible Intercontinental Championship match. But it was fine. Honky Tonk wins with like a roll-up with his hand on the ropes, so he's got the leverage. I don't know, refs never see this. Lazy refs. And he runs away, and then Jake the Snake attacks Jimmy Hart and puts Damien on him, and Alice Cooper gets in there and helps. And I guess Alice Cooper it was his hometown, so the crowd was really excited for him. And this was fine. It was fine for what it was. Short, not offensive, good come-down match, nothing special. It was totally fine. Next, we had the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, this time with Slick. I don't know why they have Slick all of a sudden, but there he is. Versus the Killer Bees, B. Brian Blair and Jumping Jim Brunzell. And then at the beginning of the match, while Volkov is singing the national anthem, the Soviet national anthem, Hacksaw Jim Duggan comes down and stops him. And then he stays at ringside. And you know what? I wish that I could say that this foreign heel versus America thing is a thing of the past, but you still see it every now and then. And it worked really well in the 80s, but it doesn't really work so well now. So I kind of wish they would just drop it already, but whatever. And yeah, this was alright. I'm on the fence on whether I think the Killer Bees moniker is really clever or really cheesy. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. I don't know, man. This was all right. The heels won by DQ when Duggan came into the ring and hit Iron Sheik with the 2x4 while he had the camel clutch locked in. And then the baby faces celebrated like they were happy. Like they weren't even mad at Duggan for costing them the match at all. They were just like, "Yay, America!" I hate booking like this. Like, at least be a little upset that you didn't get the win. Stupid, but it was okay overall. So it's all right. All right, and then we had the main event of the evening. WWF Championship match, Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And they actually had a really good video package. Oh my god, progress. They're getting there. Now, if only everyone could have entrance music. soon. I hope, please. So this had a really big fight feel, and Andre is very limited. He's a big guy. He had acromegaly, so he was definitely limited. But they really played to his strengths, and he looked really good. This probably wouldn't really work in today's WWE, but it really worked. I wasn't. I've never seen this match. I don't know how. Like, I feel like a terrible wrestling fan. But I've never seen this match until now, and it actually was really. It was really entertaining. I enjoyed it. Um, it was huge. The crowd really elevated everything that happened in this match, and it just felt like a huge moment, and it was. It really was a huge moment, especially back then. But even now, and then, obviously Hulk gets the body slam. That no one ever saw that coming. Andre's so big, you wouldn't think anyone would be able to lift him. But Hulk hits the body slam, the leg drop, and the unthinkable. He gets the clean pinfall victory against Andre. And it's a huge passing of the torch for Hulk. I mean, Hulk was already the champ for several years at this point. But it was really a big moment for everybody. And this was actually pretty special. This was definitely glorious. I will definitely say that this was the best overall WrestleMania to this point by a good margin. There's definitely room for improvement still, but we're getting there. And I'm happy to say that this was really entertaining. So we'll see what's up with the next WrestleMania coming up soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. Like and comment on the video below. Follow us on Twitter at Deep6Wrestling. And now we have a Facebook page. Go like us at Deep6 Wrestling and have a glorious day.